grow up, I want to work for a woke company. Like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like,
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up,
I want to be offended
by my coworkers.
And walk around the office
on eggshells.
And have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety
and do workplace sensitivity training
all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist.
I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for tuning in live with Business Makers. It's good to be with you. I think it's been a couple weeks, actually. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you guys download our app. We got a number of great shows on our network, on the Fight Laugh Feast network. If you haven't checked out Mark Dewey and the Bullpen, we also have Compass China, which is a missionary from China, going through each region in China and telling stories about being a missionary in China and so forth. It's a very fantastic podcast. And last we got Pastor Edgar. He has our kind of first Spanish podcast on our network, and would love for that podcast to go deep into our sister nation to the south of us, Mexico. And the gospel needs to go out there. I'm very excited about that Spanish podcast that we now have on our network. We're going to be at Prodigal America, our Fight Laugh Feast conference, October 31st through November 2nd. We have a pre-business conference with some great speakers on Thursday afternoon. Make sure you sign up for that too. And we hope to see you guys there. And if you want to vend or booth or sponsor an experience at Fight Laugh Feast, Prodigal America, please reach out to me, waterboy@crosspolitic.com, waterboy@crosspolitic.com. I'm excited to have this guest on my show today. I really like a lot of this is like blue collar welding, business franchise. I have so many questions, but excited to bring Kendall Kornelsen. I'm probably butchering your last name, brother, but he's the CEO of MAXX-D trailers. Thank you for coming on the show, Kendall.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So Kornelsen. Okay, so kind of don't roll through that.
I guess.
Make sure yeah. Okay, very good. And so you're the CEO of MAXX-D trailers. And your dad started out the company. Let's talk about the founding of it.
Yeah, so I'm what they'd call a second generation family in the company. So my dad started this company in 1999. Right before that, he had lived here in the States a couple years previously, but at that time he had been living in Mexico and he was looking for another opportunity back in the States.
Okay.
And trying to find a better way to make a living. He was doing varieties of entrepreneurial type things in Mexico. Tried building a few trailers down there. He tried building a dump truck bed and varieties of things. Tried building different things, and just the economic atmosphere there just wasn't as conducive to what he was trying to do. So finally, he asked one of his friends that he had met when he had lived here a couple of years previously if there was any opportunity for him to come back here and work. And he was like, no, not necessarily as an employee, but he could give him some kind of contract deal where he would manufacture trailers for him, complete trailers and on his own business type setup. And that's how he started, pretty much doing everything himself, ordering the parts. I mean, just 16-hour days, just lots of work and doing everything himself.
Wow. And then when was he able to hire his first employee, or was it you? Child labor.
I think it was about 6 months until he hired his brother, who was his first employee. And then within about 4 years, I think he had 3 or 4 employees. So fairly slow start, I guess, compared to, now 3 or 4 employees, we'll go through regularly. But yeah, it was slow starting there. He built his dream pretty much his dream facility at that point in 2004, I think it was, about 4 or 5 years after.
Okay.
And it was about as big as he could dream. It was like, this was his dream. This was it.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, doubled it and then added on some more and just kept growing. It's pretty much kind of was a little seasonal thing. I remember in the winter, it would always, like, the trailer business is fairly seasonal. So in the winter, it would slow down.
Yeah.
Didn't have enough work. Went out and looked for customers.
Yeah.
Picked up a couple of customers. By the time the busy season came back around, couldn't keep up with demand. So we added on and added more capacity and kind of went through a really rapid growth cycle there up until about 2008. And then reality kind of hit, got set back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Kept going. But yeah, I grew up around the business. So I watched a lot of it as a kid. I pretty much went full time in 2009, pretty much starting.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I started, I guess I was doing after school jobs, summer jobs, different things. But in 2009, I finished high school and started full time right after the whole dip. I barely experienced some of the dip. I barely experienced, I guess, some of the cutbacks we had to do.
Yeah.
And for quite a few years, there was a lot of caution in my mind, or always very reserved, like very careful for a good long while.
Yeah.
So
are you guys are basically a trailer manufacturing business?
Yes. Yeah. We manufacture we manufacture trailers. I guess even in the trailer industry, there's some companies that buy a whole lot of components or a whole lot of pre-cut parts and basically just assemble a few pieces and build a trailer. We do a pretty good number of fabricating in-house as well.
Okay. But you're also, this is what I think is intriguing to me. Maybe I'm wrong here, but you're also a franchise?
No.
Okay. Cause you have, I go on your website and you have all these MAXX-D trailer locations. Are they just like certified locations? Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay. So I got you. I brought you back. I hit a computer button. The computer was too close to me.
Yeah. Those are all dealers that we sell to. So we try to make it as seamless on our website. I guess the perception that we try to make it as seamless for them to find locations where to buy from or where to purchase the trailers at.
Okay. So do you got to be like a verified dealer with you guys? Is there like a licensing fee for your branding, or or you just, the dealer just decides to pick you guys up?
I mean, there's usually a little bit of a relationship building, a little bit of vetting process. We make sure that this fits. So, I mean, for a business to be a trailer dealer, you have to have a dealer's license to sell trailers because they are, in most states, have to be registered for road use. So I think possibly even in all states. I know some states are a little more lenient on some things, but you have to have a dealer license to sell trailers and register them and everything. As far as on our part, we have somewhat of a minimum of how much you buy from us, how much you are. We're working on stocking, I guess, more stocking requirements and different things yet too.
Okay.
But usually most dealers that we sell to or pick up, most of them already carry another few lines of products.
Okay. And, so it's not as much of a franchise model as it's more of just a kind of vetting and relationship model.
Yeah. Like they're totally independent distributors.
Okay.
Like we try to work with them, try to get them to do things certain ways, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's totally completely their own business.
Yeah. Right. So when you work with a dealer, is your branding impactful, like in their region? And because part of I'm curious here, you have 3 dealers around us within, or at least that your website showed me, that carry your brand. You got one in it looks like Tri-Cities, one in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, which is the closest one, and then one in Missoula, which is about 4 hours away. Do they benefit? Is there like a marketing and brand boost when they pick up your trailers?
I think we're definitely getting there more so. Yes. So yeah, we generate a lot of leads off our website, and we try to channel them to the distributors very much. So like we do try to get a lot of leads to our customers. I mean, it's still, some of the branding is still sometimes a little bit regional. Like in that area, we've been around there for probably going on right around 10 years. So our product is fairly well known in that area.
Yeah.
To the trailer people, at least. Sometimes a new area might take a little bit longer. However, we do try to work pretty hard on the branding to to drum up business to our dealers.
Yeah. In terms of like quality, how do you guys distinguish yourself in the market?
Right near the top. Like, I guess price point, quality, product feature offering, different, however you put it. I guess overall, we try to position ourselves right near the top.
Okay, so you're more of a premium trailer. What cost?
Yes. Well, okay. And maybe that's right near the top with like more mass, I guess, more mass market type products. There are a few companies that build very specialized, like very, very high dollar trailers.
Uh-huh.
But as far as like a general open steel trailer, we would be we position ourselves right near the top.
Mm-hmm. What are some of like governmental regulations that hinder your ability to, innovate or even manufacture?
Surprisingly, I don't know if there's not just a whole lot of government regulation. I mean, there is NHTSA reporting that we have to do once, I guess, you get to 10,000 trailers. Before that, there's not much there. I mean, there are lighting requirements. You have to place your lights a specific way or be visible from certain angles. Some of those are surprisingly not even very enforced. I mean, there's some very basic ones that are enforced, but then there's some more detailed ones with an organization that we're a part of, NATM. It's more of an independent party that really tries to step up outside of the government, tries to step up the manufacturing game some more and put, I guess, bring a little bit more, I guess, voluntary safety stuff and things like that to trailers.
Okay. And so it doesn't sound like there's many government regulations that impact your price point and all that.
No, definitely not on the price point. No.
Yeah. That's a surprising answer, given the car dealerships, they're controlled by the government big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you, as you second generation? So I've heard in the past that first generation starts the business, second generation saw the hard times, dad went in, third generation destroys the business. Now I don't know if that obviously that cycle is not true across the board, but it is, I think, has some generalizations to it. How are you thinking about, what your dad started, you taking over the family business and, trying to keep it healthy through the next generation, all that stuff?
I guess almost to a degree, thankfully. I mean, I just had my first daughter. She's only 5 months old. So I'm not very far with that one, at least not on my side of the family. Now the other siblings, I guess some of them are further along.
Yeah.
I haven't thought super far on that. I've definitely thought of, I want to raise my children in a way that they'll appreciate what's there and, that they appreciate the hard work and what it takes to build something like this. I don't know exactly how to go about a lot of it. I guess as far as I've gotten, it's given a lot of thought. I haven't figured out a lot of specific things of how to do it yet.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Because this is a blue collar industry, really. So you said it looks like you have some turnover pretty consistently. How do you build like a company culture in this blue collar manufacturing world?
I can say how we've done it. I'm not saying it's been entirely successful, but it's definitely, I guess, specifically, it is harder with the blue collar people out in the plant than it is with the people like in the office, the admin type people. It's easier with like management and the office admin people than out in the shop. There's always a little bit of a disconnect because we're doing very different jobs. But a big thing that we have focused on that we've implemented a few years ago already, we call it an Excalibur program, where we have our core values and we rate people on them regularly. And if they pass, it's a fairly general, simple rating system. Our core values right now are pursue excellence, take responsibility, and build meaningful relationships. So if we see somebody that's always trying to do a good job, people are in different levels of the company are held to different standards. But if we see somebody always trying to do a good job, you take responsibility, you take initiative to go take care of a job. You don't just wait to constantly be told stuff, and you build relationships with people around you, enjoy working with them,
Mm-hmm.
like pretty much past the bar there, they get an Excalibur rating, and we recognize them at like our quarterly meals.
Okay. So
And
you guys,
and if they fall short of any other ratings, we work with them. We tell them like, hey, we believe this is a good thing for you to build up personally. We want to help you build up to this. This isn't to like just knock you down and tear you down, get you out.
yeah,
This is to help build you up, because we want to help build character in those simple ways, because at the end of the day, you do all those things, you'll also be a better worker. So it translates to productivity in the end as well.
yeah. So you guys do quarterly company meals.
Yes.
How many employees do you guys have now?
Right now we're at about 250.
Oh, wow. And you're in your one location there?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever thought about like opening up another manufacturing plant in, I don't know, Idaho?
Thought about it. Yes. I guess a year ago we were quite looking at different locations. I think we're about to get back into researching that again.
Yeah. Because it seems like one of the business challenges you guys would have would be cost of shipping trailers.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, our dealer out in Washington, I mean, it's pretty easy that a load of trailers would be $7,000 or more to get a load of trailers up there.
Ooh.
Which, I mean, a load of trailers is easily with the higher dollar trailers, I guess in that case, it's pretty easily $60,000 to $80,000. So it can add about 10% to the price of a trailer.
Wow. And how many trailers can you ship at a time on cargo?
It depends on, I guess, the type of trailer. Pretty average, I would say, is right around 8. Anywhere from, I'd say about 4 to 10, but more commonly around 8.
Uh-huh.
It just depends on the product mix of what's on the load.
Yeah. So does the market see that, oh man, it's 8% more if I buy a trailer in Wenatchee, so I'm just going to go straight to headquarters in Texas to buy a trailer?
Well, we
Is that
don't
how it
sell
works?
direct. We don't sell direct. We do not compete with our dealers. I know
Okay.
there's quite a few. There's a lot of manufacturers that have been getting into dealerships lately. So at the end of the day, they're connected to the dealership, so they're competing with their own customers.
Yeah.
We
right.
have completely stayed out of that game so far, and we have no near future plans or intentions of getting into it either. So we don't sell direct. However, I mean, there are dealers here in Texas that if they operate with an efficient markup and no freight, they do attract customers all over the country.
Right.
Which some people just don't value their time or their driving distance as much money either, because
I know.
if you think about it, if you drive up from Washington, I mean, that's probably a 4 or 5 day trip plus a lot of fuel and truck wear and tear. I mean, I'd still say it'd be cheaper to buy a trailer in Washington.
Yeah, right. And it's probably still, maybe it's $7,000 to ship a trailer up to Wenatchee or Tri-Cities, and it's probably $5,000 of your time, money to go pick up a trailer in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone calculates all the true costs of everything.
Yeah,
But they think they can save a few dollars and they do it, but yeah, we I guess going into that just a little bit, our dealers, a lot of them will advertise across the country and pull business from pretty far away. It was probably about 10 years ago where online really started getting popular in the trailer industry.
Interesting. Yeah,
And a lot of, I'd say one of my close friends started a dealership about 10 years ago, and he built it very much on the online thing. He rode the initial trend very well of the online thing. He's always been adapting and growing and built a really, really strong dealership.
Interesting. So does he just have a bunch of inventory in his location and he sells it online?
Yeah. I mean, a good bit of inventory. He figures out what to stock, or originally, I guess, I mean, strategies change in time. You have to change strategies, but one of his strategies up front was very much stocking stuff others didn't have, advertising it like crazy online, and he would just sell a lot of high dollar, higher end units that no one dared to stock.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. So, and you guys, obviously your online presence is to build your brand and to work with dealerships. That's how you guys use your online presence.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky on how we market, because we want to promote our brand. We want to market our brand out there.
Yeah.
Yet we don't sell direct. So the key thing there is, at the end of the day, we try to drive it to the dealers.
Yeah, right. Well, what's the reasoning behind not selling direct?
I I'd say pretty much what I was saying a little bit ago is we don't want to compete with our customers themselves. So like our customers being the dealers.
Yeah, right. And so selling online, the dealers would look poorly on that kind of thing. Is kind of more of a relationship thing with the dealers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I don't know how. Like I've heard a lot of comments from dealers that don't like how other manufacturers do that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're still buying their product, so I don't know if it really matters or if it's just kind of a thing in the back of their mind that they don't like very much.
Yeah.
But that's just something largely because of that we've been trying to stay away from it. Plus, if we do go retail, that's quite a different focus as well. We'd have to employ different people focused on that because retail each transaction takes more time versus our sales guys. They have big accounts. They sell loads at a time, not one unit at a time.
Right.
And then we'd also have to have separate inventory because right now pretty much all of our inventory we're built to order. So most of the stuff at most any given point on our yard here is sold and it's just waiting for the load to complete and ship out.
Right. That's I see that business model distinction there. What's your highest grossing state?
Highest grossing state. I should know this. For years there, I think it was actually Washington State.
Really?
Yes, because the dealer there was our largest dealer for a long time. Might actually still be. I'm not even. He's top three anyway. Lately, he's been fluctuating a little bit between the top three.
Okay.
But I would say because he's so strong there, it'd be Washington, Texas, or Missouri. I think would be the hotter states.
And is there besides, let's say, having a strong dealer, what kind of makes up a good state for you guys? What's the economy? What's the makeup there?
Well, our customer base is very much, I guess the most preferred or most sought after customer base would be construction type people.
Okay.
So like our dump trailers and our equipment haulers that construction people use a lot.
Yeah.
And then our roll-off trailers as well for a lot of trash, for also very much construction remodels type stuff.
Yep.
That would be our biggest market, I would say. So a lot of cities where there's a lot of construction, usually most highly populated cities will use a lot of trailers.
How do you what's your most expensive? I'm looking through your website and looking at your various dump trailers. Look very nice. What's your most expensive trailer?
Most expensive trailer would be the YHX model. That is our heaviest trailer, or like our most highest weight rated trailer. It's 40,000 pound GVWR, which minus the weight of the trailer, you can haul like right at maybe just a tad short of 30,000 pounds. And that one's got a hydraulic dovetail. So the rear dovetail goes up and down for very easy loading.
Okay.
And very often customers will equip that trailer with hydraulic jacks as well. So, you don't have to sit there and crank a jack for a long time when hooking up the trailer. Yeah. It's got hydraulic disc brakes on it. And customers add a variety of other features. That trailer will go north of $50,000.
Oh my goodness. That is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's trailers like that have come a very long way from who we were even 10 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at all your trailers here. If someone wanted to get, let's say, into the dealership game with trailers and everything, do you guys help them? Do you guys coach them? How does it? What are you doing with dealers that maybe bring value to them besides your trailer?
We very much try to help them stock. Like we have data from a lot of dealers. We can help dealers tell them, hey, this is what sells. We try to point them to resources and marketing, like I guess a set specific program we don't specifically have necessarily, but say a new dealer comes on board, we try to coach them with how to go about it, what products to sell. Hey, look into service and parts, build your business model around this. You need marketing resources. We have tons of pictures, videos you can reuse. We have, I guess, just our experience with what other dealerships use, what's a common website that they should use, where should they post their products, what type of markup should you do, how should you approach this or that. Like we do work with them fairly closely. We try to build our relationship and work with them a lot. Yes.
Yeah. I remember talking with you guys during the pandemic, about some various things, but I don't think I ever asked you, how did you guys go through the pandemic? How did you make it through? Was sales low? You know, what issues did you face in 2020?
So it was I'd say gradual, when COVID first hit, it was a gradual decline. We figured out pretty much what our break even was weekly, and we kept above break, like just barely above break even constantly. So we were like, we're going to keep going as long as we can. It was literally, I think it was middle of May. I forget the exact time period. We're like, okay, now it seems like sales are starting to dry up. Things seem to be getting a little tougher. We're going to shut down 2 weeks and see what happens. We totally made the decision. We call those supervisors into a conference room. We're like, hey, look, everybody was barely seated and we're about to make the announcement to them. And then our sales manager comes running in there like, hey, we can't shut down. Dealers starting to call for products. We can't shut down. We flipped the decision. Sales started skyrocketing.
Wow.
And we pulled through. We added a second shift about a month after that, and we just went full blast about as hard as we could for about 3 years.
Wow. What was the reasoning for shutting down? Was just because sales were so slow?
Yes.
I'm just gonna tell everyone to go home for a couple of weeks and then come back. So can basically reduce costs. Was that the reason?
Yeah, I mean, most companies, I think we were one of the last companies to do that 2 week shutdown. There might have been another one or two that hadn't shut down yet, but most companies out here, they're just like, well, everything was dying. It seemed like the whole world was shutting down at that time.
Wow.
And we're like, well, sales are slowing down. Everyone else is doing it. I guess we'll shut down for just a little bit and then come back and see how it goes.
So where do you let's talk supply chains then. So you need tires, you need metal, iron, what's your supply chains look like?
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of steel. The vast majority of the raw steel, if not all of it, comes from the US.
Okay.
So I don't remember. There were certain lengths at times that were hard to get. Yes, absolutely. It usually ended up being one specific length that they couldn't keep up with, or they had slowed down, or people were hogging it up. I mean, it was almost every week we ran out of one thing. Finally, we sourced it some way, ran out of something else, sourced it another way. A lot of our parts are coming from China, overseas in general. Like the ports were all backed up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was times, looking back now, it might not have always been the best decision, but we'd ship some trailers without all the final parts. And since they were bolt on anyway, we sent them to the dealer later for them to finish putting it on. So at least we shipped out the product, and maybe they had some parts and we could still get some stuff moving. But it was, I mean, it was some crazy times back then. There was times we couldn't get the safety chains for the front of the product. So we ended up buying just long chain, cutting it down ourselves, putting the hooks on there and making it work. Like we'd often get creative with one thing or another.
Wow. Yeah. And now what are supply chains like?
Now they're getting a lot more efficient again. And like prices during COVID were ramping up. A lot of it was the massive increase in freight. Like a container went from, I forget if it's like 3,000 up to 17 or 18,000 or even more.
Wow.
To ship things overseas. I think a lot of that's leveled off. A lot of the component prices are starting to ease up again.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's starting to kind of go back a little bit more to the way it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But availability is largely there now.
Okay. So market stability is there, is what you're saying?
I still think there's a little bit of a readjustment period, because even with the manufacturers, it's like the demand shot up faster than the supply. And then supply ramped up so fast, like from all the manufacturers. There's so many manufacturers that expanded capacities, added new plants, new companies came on. Supply ramped up so fast that here in the last year, there's been demand has been easing up a little bit. But supply ramped up so much, and now there's been a lot more competition in the market as well.
Wow, interesting. What's your, I understand if you don't want to ask this question, but answer this question, excuse me. But what's your annual gross revenue?
Annual revenue, just I guess past few years, we've been just barely north of 100 million.
Okay, for annual. And is that where's that in the market? As it relates to other competitors?
I mean, there's, I guess, only so much public accurate information, whatever, but I'd say somewhere around number 10 to 15.
Oh, wow. So
of like the open steel trailer industry, we're I'd say we're right around 10 to 15.
Interesting. So who would be number one then?
Big Tex trailers would be okay. Quantity wise, from the one report I'll always look at, there's a company called Carry On Trailers, but they make all the very cheap basic utility trailers. You'll see at Tractor Supply, Atwoods, Home Depot, that type of place, although there's another company coming in competing with that level now.
Yeah.
So they've been going down a good bit, but the more comparable trailers, the biggest one would be Big Tex trailers. The second one was PJ, but Low Trills has now surpassed them, I think, as in a single brand. But then there's another company that has a few different brands. They're also right there at the top.
Yeah.
It's multiple brands within that company as well.
Big Tex trailers. They're out of Texas?
Their headquarters are here in Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
So about an hour from us here, yes.
Are you good friends with them, or do you guys, no
don't really
no
know
one talks?
anyone there. Yeah. Yeah. I guess Big Tex out in Mount Pleasant, I don't know very many people out in our area. So right close within 10, 15 minutes of our place here, there's like 10, 15 trailer manufacturers as well. Here I'd know a lot more. Here I would know a lot more people, but the Mount Pleasant area, which a bunch of manufacturers there too, there I don't really know anyone.
Okay. So it sounds like Texas is a big hub for trailer manufacturing.
Oh, it's crazy the number of trailer manufacturers that are out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Would Texas be like the number one state for trailer manufacturing?
I do think for open seal trailers, I think it is.
Wow.
For RVs and enclosed, it's very much Indiana. So Elkhart, Indiana is a town that's a little bit of a different type of trailer there, like RVs and enclosed, but that's the hub for that type of trailer.
Wow, interesting. Well, very good. What would be kind of like some of your big takeaways of things you've learned from taking over your dad's company, and where MAXX-D Trailers is at today?
Feel like I'm figuring something. There's constantly new seasons of figuring out something different. One thing I would say I learned fairly early on is the need for structure within the family, like having some governance and structure. We put that in place right around the time or even a little bit before I officially took over.
Okay. And
that having that structure of governance, how we operate up front, helped very much throughout, because now it's just simply this is how we operate.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I would highly recommend for any family business.
Yeah.
I guess within the company, for my role, it's definitely building a good team, and I guess having good leaders in place is absolutely crucial. Right now I get to work with about the best team I could wish for.
Yeah, nice. When you took over, let me ask this question. When you took over, what was the annual revenue? You took over in 2010?
Early 2018.
Oh, 2018. Okay.
I started working here full time in 2009. So back then, small company, we didn't have official structure and different things.
Yeah.
I was involved in almost everything in the company, but not officially in charge until 2018.
Okay. All right. So you took over in 2018. What was the annual revenue then?
I think that year I'm trying to think a little bit. It was right at 40 million.
Okay. How do you think about, your cap? Where do you think you'll cap out? What's, is it, obviously you got some other companies that make more revenue, so you got some market share you can still take up, but how do you think about, going from 40 million to 100 million was probably, you always wonder where the top is, kind of thing, where the top of this is at. How do you think about that?
It's a little hard to know where the top is. Just looking right now at some of the biggest single brands, I don't know their revenue other than estimating off of like trailer count on reports that are public.
Yeah.
But I do estimate it to be between 250 and about 400 million.
Okay.
That's about where I'm estimating at. That's the biggest companies right now. Like Big Tex, I'd say they're one of the most, right near one of the most successful, very prominent brands, and they've only made it to like a certain percentage.
Yeah.
So I don't know how big any one single trailer brand can get. Now, like there's a company that has multiple brands, which even Big Tex and PJ are now under one company, and like there's multiple brands, multiple acquisitions like that they've grown, but just one single brand, I keep thinking there might be some kind of limit in the industry yet on that.
Yeah, interesting. Well, Kendall, thank you so much for joining us on Business Makers MAXX-D trailers. You can actually go to Max is spelled with a double X, MAXX-D trailers. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. It was coming. I couldn't get Kendall out fast enough. I couldn't shut down the show fast enough. So thank you for joining Business Makers. Thank you, Kendall, for joining us. We'll see you hopefully in October at our Fight Laugh Feast conference. Go to fightlaughfeast.com or prodigalamerica.com to sign up, and we'll see you guys there. Commercials coming in just a second. So basically, yeah, make sure you guys sign up for prodigalamerica.com. Sorry for that little commercial break, and we'll see you next week.
The Bible appears more to whisper when it comes to sexual sin.
Are we going to keep bickering over secondary issues?
You asking me out on a date?
America has squandered her inheritance far too long. It's time she repents and returns home to her Father.
Today we are going to be talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse Always Ready bundle available at armoredrepublic.com. It's a very practical kit, including everything that you need, all the way from hydration to first aid to general purpose to magazine holders and to a very comfortable plate carrier. So included is the Testudo Gen 3 plate carrier, and we also have 2 C3 plates that I've included in the bundle. So these plates are multi-curve, multi-hit ceramic, so they can take multiple rounds. I really like these plates because it's going to offer level 4 protection. Thank you guys for watching. Again, you can go to armoredrepublic.com, linked below, and you can purchase your Kyle Rittenhouse Always Ready bundle today.